Alrighty then, it's time for more silver suffering. Yay! This one. And it's with Xin Zhao this time. Conquers Xin Zhao to be exact. So yeah, I didn't know or do not know whether press the attack or Conqueror is better on jungle Xin Zhao, so I decided to try it out. Because, for lane, so far Conquerors is doing really well. But when you're in the jungle, the time it takes to activate that isn't necessarily always there for you, especially on someone who like Xin Zhao, who kind of just bursts in there and activates press the attack rather quickly. Anyways, I knew Lee Sin would probably want to gank Ahri supple last, so I wait in this bush and immediately jump him. He takes quite a while to react, so he takes a crap ton of damage, ultimately leading up to his death. Again, I'll repeat what I just kind of did. So Ahri's pushing to Fizz to his tower and is a very, very easy target. Honestly, a smart target for Lee Sin to go for. However, Xin Zhao is faster than Lee Sin, so once I cleared my blue buff, I immediately went to that bush just to wait for him to just naturally cross by and strike him. So yeah, I got a first blood. Oh, well, I got an early kill against the Lee Sin, and I got a good gank on the Fizz, burning his flash. Remember, ganks don't always have to lead to kills. Anyways, in this game, I'll be going Bruiser. Mostly because even though I have a Singed teammate who could act as front line, I don't necessarily know if he's going to go AP or tanky. Or pure tank, I mean. So we need someone who can at least take some damage. We'll both be Bruisery champions, I assume. I go towards trying to gank bottom lane, but it doesn't really come up to anything. They have way too much escapes and whatever. Also right here is where the replay bugs a little bit. You can just see all the weird frame rate dropping. But whatever, it'll fix itself in a second. It's just, ever since the latest patch, this happens in every single game I play, and in every game I try to record. It's just pretty miserable. Anyways, I'm going to catch Lee Sin here, trying to take Scuttle, but he ends up just thankfully leashing it for me. Thank you, Lee Sin. I love you. Anyways, my teammates chase Fizz for quite a while and, blunder both their abilities. And in that situation, it's pretty good for me because I know Fizz wouldn't be anywhere to help the enemy Lee Sin, so I just steal his red, and that's pretty good. And I also got a red ward. And if Lee Sin tried to fight me there, knowing that Fizz wouldn't be anywhere to help him, I would destroy him. So yay for me. Yeah, the enemy Lee Sin is quite behind at this point, so I could basically bully him. Now, this next situation here is pretty brutal. So, the enemy is sort of collapsing here, but look at how the timing of this goes. Thresh catches the Kai'Sa and initiates while bringing me in with a lantern. I cause my ultimate to scatter them, and they basically get into range of me and get destroyed, both Lee Sin and Kai'Sa. Fizz finally shows up, and while he does get a kill against the Thresh, it leads to his death as well. Now, the reason why I wanted to point that out is Thresh initiated before the Fizz even showed up, so it didn't matter if Fizz was going to be there for coming for a gank. He wasn't there in time, which effectively made it a 3v3, which we got the preemptive strike in, killing two very important characters, so it ended up mostly being a 3v2, and then Thresh got killed there. Think of it like, Paper Mario, or in those RPGs where you can get a first strike or an ambush situation. We just showed up in time. I mean, we did things first, getting the first damage in, giving us an immediate advantage before the whole thing started happening. First strike. And that just alone can win you a lot of fights. Like, again, in Paper Mario, you kill one of the many monsters you'll fight in one fight, and that kind of lets you just snowball out of control. So yeah, at this point, I get to basically bully the enemy jungler or the enemy team in general. I can just constantly invade because anybody who comes at me is going to get absolutely obliterated. And then, of course, my teammates decide to throw our advantage away by pushing way longer than they needed to, and I'll promptly die. Yay! At least I get the Rift Herald, so, it's not completely sad. Though I did end up trading the dragon for that. At this point, I'm monopolizing my buffs because, in lower divisions, it's just kind of a thing where I like to play mostly carries or really weird champions that can punish enemy players. So, and hog everything, just, make myself as self-efficient as possible. Here, we take the tower, and I summon by summoning the Rift Herald, pretty easy stuff. And we have like this weird little kind of distant Mexican standoff because the blue buff is up and they know we're coming in bottom and with a Rift Herald, but the rest of the enemy team is kind of being weird and not doing very much, and instead they end up losing another tower because of their indecisiveness and chasing Singed for a while, then being chased by Singed. I go in against the enemy Darius, don't do enough damage to kill him before I have to pop my ultimate to sort of disengage the fight. And then Fizz dies anyways, even though he had gotten away from this. Fizz dies anyways, even though he got away from the Singed. So, hooray. 13 and 11 though, considering how dominant the beginning was, you would think the scores would be far less even, but yeah. I buy Titanic Hydra very quickly rather than anything else, even including buying boots, mostly to give myself as much burst as possible. Though, at this point, I'm starting to question whether or not taking Conquerors was better, because if I'm going very bursty or very powerful, most fights, and before Conquerors is fully realized, or at the point that it's realized I was going to win anyways, right? But yeah, the enemy team once again fights in a really odd situation and gets all systematically picked off, or the ones who were there. Kai's is the only survivor doing hell knows what. At this point, my farm is really strong, my kills are really brutal, and the enemy team has not much they can do about this. Here though, this fight is pretty bad because I would try to grab the lantern and Vayne ends up catching it, and I use my ultimate to try to disengage, and then I engage anyways and get killed. So that was me getting a little bit too cocky. It leads to my death and Vayne's death because both of us wanted the lantern and only one of us got it. The irony is that we both died anyways. But yeah. Thankfully, again, just the fact that I have a Singe is always great, except in this situation where he decides to use Explosive Rune to kind of just go where the entire enemy was, which he knew was there, and then just kind of died. So that's unfortunate too. But yeah, I'm not building full Bruiser, by the way. I'm actually going to be building Blade the Ruined King just to catch the Kai'Sa, because she's actually more slippery than I thought, because most everybody is controlling me and then I can't catch her and whatever. Rakan thought he could, survive the amount of furious damage I can do, and decided just to, get too close and die, which allowed me to get a tower, which then Darius shows up to defend the tower that no longer exists, and I have to make a huge loop around to even try to catch him. He ends up flashing into a charm, and then we just destroy him too. Pretty sad stuff, because I don't know what he was trying to do. Then Kai'Sa comes in, and she has her flash, she escapes by flashing into the Singe, who kills her really quickly, and then I stab Lee Sin in the butt, and he dies too. So yay. Essentially, yeah, Silver in a nutshell is just extreme disorganization. When you've seen gold games that I've uploaded, or the platinum games that I've uploaded, there is some disorganization, people were not knowing what to do, but for the most part, people are aware of what's going on. And I just have to say, lower division games, one of the biggest problems is people are not constantly thinking. They're very, I would say, like impulsively thinking. Like they see something, gotta do this, rather than immediately thinking of all the other options at the same time. Like here they sort of beeline to my teammate, which allows me just to dash in and just, destroy the shit out of these guys. I didn't play this right because I didn't activate my active on the right target, and I focused Rakan a little too much. So I died, which I could have killed the Kai'Sa and then the Rakan, but I still did quite a bit of damage, and they sort of chased a little bit too much. Hell, most of this game has been chasing a little bit too much and engaging too much by the enemy team, which again further leads to my point of, a lot of players is just not aware or thinking too much. Like if you remember those other games I uploaded in this weird Count's misfortune of dumping into Elo, there's a lot of over-engaging and a lot of weird chasing that goes around in lower divisions because, again, people overestimate the value of kills and the value of, a certain, mostly just kills and the value of certain situations. We kill Lee Sin rather easily, and then Singe runs amok, and at this point he's kind of unstoppable for the enemy team. Kai'Sa gets too close, and I go in on her. And although at this point I take too much damage and get dropped, but thankfully the rest of my team is there to just pick up the rest of the enemy team and wipe them out. Though I will say this, the game ain't over because you could tell that the video is still going on for about a minute and a half, right? It's because my teammates at this point they kind of do say, hey, we can get a bit more kills or something like that, right? It's actually not the first time it happens where some people decide they want to pad their kills. So instead of, focusing or playing safely, they systematically get destroyed, and then they give chase to the Arya, though that doesn't really amount to anything. And yeah. Also, just I got reminded about something. A very common and really odd thing they do in these divisions, aside from where you saw Kai'Sa going into melee range against the Xin Zhao, which again is pretty common for 80 carries in this division to go into melee range, is people just kind of decide to back in the weirdest spots and die. It happens a lot here. Like, remember, my golden rule for just any game in general is remember that the enemy is also just like you, and they want to kill you as much as you want to kill them. So they're gonna play intelligently, or they're gonna make plays you would want to be making. Either way, my teammates throw their lives away, and thankfully Vayne shows up to just kind of wipe out the rest of the enemy team who overcommitted to that kill and wipe them out. And with that, we basically win. The Kaiser here gets gunned down by the Vayne, and that just kind of seals the deal. But yeah, this is the last of these weird Silver Nightmare games, but you can tell those are a weird common theme about them of how iffy these games were. And if you liked this video, remember to give it a like. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the little bell up there somewhere so you actually get notifications to my videos, because YouTube and stuff.